overly vague terms, we'll be sure to do so in the following sections. Power. Make no mistake, this Xbox release is eerily similar to the iPhone 3GS. Remember back in the late 2000s when Apple first started releasing the iPhone? It went from the original iPhone, which is already being called the iPhone 2G, to the iPhone 3G, and then, against all public dismay, the snazzy iPhone 3GS. Thus, the dreaded half-step was born. Unbeknownst to us all, the iPhone 3GS was a dangerous precedent forever changing the digital landscape. After having introduced the meek half-step, the lords at Apple have done it ever since, and it seems as though Microsoft is fully on board. Yep, so power. With the new Xbox One X, all of your older games and the newly released 4K games will play slightly faster. They've achieved this via the brand new Scorpio chip. Supposedly, the console can improve the resolution on 1080p TVs, so if you have a 4K game, it'll look better than the ones you currently own. Additionally, increases in bandwidth capacity ensure that online play will be less laggy. All of this is in theory, of course, as we've only consumed the spin. But so far, this seems more like a 3GS type console, intended only as an answer to the PS4 Pro, which supposedly is dominating. Compatibility. Before we continue this video, it's important to understand one thing. We here at The Gamer don't mind saddling up on the high horse. It's what we do, and since we're currently doing it in this video, here comes a completely unabashed gripe. Why on earth was compatibility one of the 3 guiding principles in the development of the Xbox One X? What does that even mean? First of all, Microsoft, you already used that one. You did it with the Xbox One, and a campaign that was sort of like, don't worry, if you buy this system, you'll be able to play your 360 games. Everyone's saying your praises. You don't get to reach out this every year as some sort of achievement. Secondly, it's a consolation, a standard at best. If future consoles can't play my classics, it might be a game changer. That being said, we will give Microsoft some props though. If you're wondering how the Xbox One X is capable of boosting the resolution on a 1080p TV, it works like this. The Xbox One X creates a 4K image and shrinks it to fit your TV size. It's called super sampling. Yeah, but we heard the Kinect was also awesome. Craftsmanship. Now this is downright laughable. We're not sorry. Craftsmanship was a guiding mantra for the Xbox One X. Again, what does that even mean? Craftsmanship. Does it mean what we want it to mean? Like feature-proofing capabilities or upgraded CPUs and GPUs? So 10 years down the line, we'll look back and be like, wow, the Xbox One X was truly a well-built machine. Of course not. When Microsoft says craftsmanship, they mean component design, as if it matters, and looks, as in, it looks cool and it's small. As far as we're concerned, the Xbox hit the pinnacle of design with the original Xbox and its massive X. To shrink that down, however, since they're referring to craftsmanship as the design of the Xbox One as it currently sits, it's a frickin' black Xbox One S. You can't doubt the craftsmanship label if all you did was take the Xbox One X and paint it PlayStation style. In regards to the PS4 Pro, however, we will give the nod to the Xbox One as the Pro is massive. Size will always be an appreciation for gamers, as our TV stands typically have multiple consoles, but it's not a top priority like a cell phone. No Elite controller. This one certainly pertains to a minority of Xbox players, but many have been wondering why the Xbox One doesn't include the Elite controller as standard. By now, the production line should be pretty capable, so wouldn't you want to pair your most powerful console ever with your best controller? Well, no, apparently. You pair the most powerful console ever with your 2013 model Bluetooth controller and milk your customers. Okay, we hear you. Maybe Elites are too much of a pipe dream. How about including a cable so we can use a wired controller in a pinch? LOL. Despite the initial backlash when said controversy originated with the Xbox One debut, Microsoft remains resolute in their stinginess. In wrapping up this gripe, we'd just like to point out that if Microsoft truly embodied craftsmanship as a guiding principle, wouldn't they at least develop the controller a little bit? You use the controller every time you play an Xbox, so give us something new! Instead, we have to dish out the cash for an Elite controller afterwards. Apparently, this was how Microsoft defined craftsmanship. If the trade-off was an ugly color and larger console, but awesome controller, yeah, we'd take that trade. The Kinect. What the hell, Microsoft? You made a massive push for the Kinect, said it was the best thing ever, promised us it was going to be huge, and then, when it wasn't, we all mostly forgave you. While it was expensive, it was also pretty cool. Granted, it came off a bit creepy and potentially a major privacy concern, but the capabilities of Kinect were ahead of its time. Unfortunately, as with many innovations ahead of their time, it was content-starved and appears all but abandoned by the Xbox One X. We say all but not totally, because the Xbox One X is still compatible with the Kinect. Just like the One X is compatible with, supposedly, all of the Xbox One's peripherals. It just so happens, though, probably due to luck and not sheer greed, that in order to pair your Kinect and Xbox One X, you have to purchase an adapter. That's right, the Kinect works, but you gotta cough up more dough. Surprise. Which brings us to 2 larger considerations. First, when Apple killed off the headphone jack, they provided an aux Lightning adapter for free. 2, does Microsoft plan on killing off the Kinect? After all that? Oh, it's ridiculous. Recruitability. Word on the street is that the PlayStation is killing the Xbox in terms of sales, and we mean absolutely destroying them. Although Microsoft stopped reporting Xbox One sales, it's rumored they've sold roughly 26 million consoles compared to a whopping 60 million PS4 units. That's a sales rate of 2 to 1. That's absolutely crazy. Consider, for a moment, the larger implications of such numbers. Will developers and top-tier content producers prefer the PlayStation platform over the next 4 to 5 years and its larger audiences? Will Sony flex its muscles and demand more exclusive content from developers? Such conditions could make Sony a perennial powerhouse for years to come. Remember back when the console wars first started? It was a major mistake for the 360 not to include a native HD DVD player. Instead, they sold it for extra. Ironically, the PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't have a 4K player, but the Xbox One X now has a Sony 4K Blu-ray player. Strange twist of fate for two companies, as they appear to have inverted, as the Xbox now has its competitor's DVD player. Sadly, Microsoft has shown no mercy to their customers, so now you can expect more nickel and diming on the Xbox One X. The price. Okay, right off the bat, we'll tell you the PlayStation 4 Pro debuted at $399, and it remains at that figure as of right now. It can only go lower from there, though. We're hearing rumors of a price tag drop to coincide with the Xbox One X release date. Very strategic, Sony. While the console is still expensive, it includes a number of features which aren't included with the Xbox One X. For example, the DualShock 4 controllers are rechargeable, not an extra purchase, and their charging cables, albeit short, are included. For conversation's sake, the PlayStation 4 Pro also includes a free headset. How much is the Xbox One X, you ask? Just $499. Does it include the same peripherals? Not at all. In fact, the controllers are the generic battery-operated Bluetooth controllers which first debuted in 2013. Included are two AA batteries you know are sure to die quickly. No freebie headset like the good old days. One major difference between the two consoles is the PlayStation 4 Pro does not have a 4K player, while the Xbox One X is going to be at least $100 more expensive depending on if Sony slashes the price. Given the future many expect for Sony given their large customer base, it's not clear what gives Microsoft the right to demand an extra $100 from their customers. The competition. We're going to end on one last gripe, as our final entry will focus on whether or not to buy the Xbox One X. Mainly, this gripe regards the development of Xbox as a whole. To be honest, Sony and PlayStation are clearly on a tear, and it looks like they're going to become the leader in the console wars if they're not already there. Given the volume they're selling and the rate they're selling at, it appears all the momentum is behind PlayStation. In addition, PlayStation is leading the way with exclusive content. Uncharted 4, Horizon, Bloodborne? Come on, we know there are legions of Xbox exclusive gamers who would love to play these games. In addition, PlayStation clearly has the timing and development cycle to their favor in regards to console releases. The PlayStation 4 Pro came out nearly a year ago, and it's not really comparable to the Xbox One X. The PlayStation 4 Pro came at a price similar to the Xbox One X, but delivers value equal or close to the Xbox One X, nearly a year later and $100 cheaper. We wish Xbox would worry less about milking their customer base and treat us like a privilege. They seriously need to step up their game if they intend to remain relevant. Xbox One X versus One S. Okay, we saved the nitty-gritty for the very end. And what we're going to be ending this video is with whether or not to buy the Xbox One X. And this, my friends, requires a nuanced answer, as we're assuming you're an Xbox exclusive gamer. To tip the scales, an important consideration is your current setup, both console-wise and television-wise. Reason being is the Xbox One X is already 4K compatible and playable at an undisputed 60 Hz with an HDMI 2.0. This is nothing to sneeze at. Perhaps the greatest competition to the One X is not the Pro, but the One S. If you have a 4K TV already, and you have a languishing Xbox One, although this console is a 3GS, you've got to unleash the power of a 4K TV with a 4K native console. Go wild. If you don't have or plan to buy a 4K TV, we recommend you watch the reviews and make your decision based on them. Specifically, look out for super sampling demos and see what others are saying. If the image quality is there, it's there. Enjoy the 4K layering and save your money for a later model 4K TV. Really, there's only one scenario without a recommendation. A 1080p TV with an Xbox One X, and the super sampling is hype. Save your money. And that's it. Do you agree with this list? Are you going to purchase an Xbox One X? Let us know in the comment section below. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with all our great content. Thanks for watching.
It's hard to believe it's already been 4 years since the release of the PlayStation 4. Well, at least we think it is. Some gamers want a next-gen console immediately, and the PS4 Pro is not going to cut it. They think it's about time Sony released a brand new console. That's why PS5 rumors have been swirling around the internet for the last year or so, even though Sony hasn't said a word. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our content, and ring that bell to become part of our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, here are 10 PS5 rumors that'll blow you away. Release date in 2018. This may come as a shock, but many analysts believe the PS5 will be released in 2018. Of course, it's possible for the console to be released a year from now, but Sony has shown no indication of this. Usually, they would at least confirm that they're working on the next console, but Sony has remained completely quiet. There hasn't even been a peep about the PS5. In the video game industry, it's all about punch and counterpunch. When Sony came out with the PS4 Pro, Microsoft responded with the Xbox One X, so now all eyes are on Sony to see how they respond to Microsoft. Supposedly, once the Xbox One X is released, Sony will push hard on the PS5. While we mentioned many analysts believe that this can happen in 2018, there are others who are much more skeptical. Think about it. 4K gaming is just starting to become mainstream, so it doesn't make too much sense for Sony to already move on from the PS4 Pro after only 2 years. Maybe 2019 is more predictable, but only time will tell. It would be amazing to see a new console in 2018 though, so hopefully Sony delivers. Backwards compatibility with PS4. Who doesn't love backwards compatibility? There are just so many benefits to having a console with backwards capability, we don't even know where to start. Well, first of all, it allows you to sell your old console, which can give you a couple $100 if you're lucky. You also get to play all of your favorite games from the previous console on the current one. What's better than that? Well, after the Xbox One X was announced with some amazing backwards compatibility features, it's time to see what Sony has up their sleeve. Since the Xbox One X is backwards compatible with not only the Xbox One, but the Xbox 360 and original Xbox as well, the PS5 is rumored to at least be backwards compatible with the PS4. In a perfect world, the PS5 would be compatible with each of the previous PlayStation consoles. That would be one hell of a counterpunch to the Xbox One X, and many fans would be absolutely ecstatic. All of your favorite games in PlayStation history being playable on one console sounds almost too good to be true. They say if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So we won't get our hopes up, but it wouldn't be too surprising to see the PS5 being able to play PS4 games. That wouldn't be too crazy, right? Updated virtual reality. We're very surprised to see how well virtual reality is doing. Honestly, when they started coming out with VR games, it seemed really gimmicky. Just like 3D, you have to wear something ridiculous over your eyes to see things you couldn't see before. We felt like it was an added feature that was pretty pointless. How wrong were we? Virtual reality has been thriving, and the PlayStation VR is one of the main reasons for that. The headset is beautifully designed, and there are so many amazing games to choose from, whether it's super hot or rigs. It only makes sense for Sony to upgrade their virtual reality system and possibly release it alongside the PS5. Sony will probably make a higher tech version of their current VR system and market it as a huge selling point for the PS5. If the PlayStation VR headset is sold without an external black box, it could be much cheaper, which would give Sony a big advantage over their competitors at Oculus and HTC. It's definitely a good business move and wouldn't be too surprising. Maybe the reason Sony has been so quiet is because they're working on something of this magnitude. It would be an amazing addition to the rumored PS5. More powerful than the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X was touted by Microsoft as being the most powerful console of all time, and if we're being honest, they're completely right. The specs of the Xbox One X blow every other console out of the water with all the teraflops you can imagine. It was just a little annoying to hear Microsoft go on and on about how powerful it is, yet all it does is play Xbox One games. Since Microsoft is currently winning the T-flops battle by a score of 6 to 4.2, it's time for Sony to answer back with an incredibly powerful console of their own. The PS5 is rumored to be more powerful than the Xbox One X. Expect better processing power, graphics, and yes, you bet there's going to be more teraflops. This rumor may not be too far-fetched, but you never know with these big-name companies. Many times what we expect and what we get are two very different things. We're looking at you, No Man's Sky. Anyway, expect the PS5 to be an extremely powerful console capable of doing things you've never even dreamed of. Sound familiar? Great third-party support. One of the main selling points of the PS4 is its third-party support. Sony has made sure all indie developers consider the PS4 as a possible platform for the release of their game. It's this type of proactive thinking that's allowed Sony to amass an incredible library of indie games. From Rogue Legacy to Towerfall to Fez, there are so many incredible games to choose from, and you can't go wrong with any of them. We expect Sony to keep a good thing going with their third-party games, just like with the PlayStation VR. More and more indie games should be available for the next console. We don't understand why they would stop. Gamers love that the PlayStation Store is full of great games which aren't $60 AAA titles. It allows gamers who are strapped for cash to be able to purchase and play quality games. You also get to support indie developers, which is always great. It's pretty much the gaming equivalent of buying food locally. While the Xbox One also has some good indie titles, the console can't even compare to the PS4. Sony will most likely build on the strengths of the PS4 when designing the software for the PS5. Improved 4K capabilities. With the release of the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, the launch cycles of consoles are as confusing as they've ever been. This half-step